Elena thought she was just another discarded girlfriend when Alexander ended their relationship with a hefty payout, only to discover him delivering food in the streets weeks later. As she navigates her secret pregnancy and a comfortable life funded by his parting gift, strange deliveries and suspicious behavior lead her into a dangerous web of business rivalry and betrayal. What seemed like a heartless breakup was actually a desperate plan by a hidden heir to shield the woman he loves from his enemies. Please listen to the story. The day I found out I was pregnant, Alexander Fitzgerald dumped me. He threw a bank card at me, saying, "There's 3 million in here, take it and leave." I took it pouting. That's all. Thinking to myself, this isn't even enough to raise a child until they're 5. Hearing this, his hand paused on the cigarette pack, then he said, "I'll transfer another 2 million to the card in a few days." I thought that was good enough, smiled, packed my things and left. A month later, I was driving my BMW past a luxury shopping mall when I spotted Alexander in a food delivery uniform delivering orders. "Hey boss, what's going on?" "Going undercover for research." I wasn't afraid of embarrassing him and asked directly. Alexander looked me up and down, sighed. "Actually, I went bankrupt a month ago. I couldn't support you anymore. I was afraid you'd look down on me, so I sent you away." I blinked, my face blank. "Then where's your first love?" Alexander said. "She came back to me. She doesn't mind that I'm poor and agreed to suffer with me, to help me start over." After hearing this, I immediately put on my sunglasses and wished them 100 years of happiness and a son soon. After saying that, I got in my car and sped away immediately, leaving Alexander standing there with his helmet on, bewildered in the wind. I'm someone who's afraid of 3 things in life. 1. Having no money. 2. Having no life. 3. Being alive but having no money. I was driving at 70 kilometers per hour, yet Alexander on his little electric scooter still caught up. "What are you doing? Don't tell me you want the money back." He chased me the whole way, so I had to pull over, rolled down the window and questioned him. "Don't misunderstand." Alexander's handsome face under the helmet was covered in sweat, his eyes scrutinizing. "I just wanted to ask if you have enough money." Only then did I relax my guard, for now yes. During the 2 years with Alexander he was always generous with me. Before, 5 million was just half a year's spending money for me. "For now," Alexander repeated, frowning. "So you'll find another man." I looked up at the car ceiling, rolling my eyes. "Alexander, instead of worrying about your ex-girlfriend's love life, you should worry about whether your delivery order will be late." After saying that, I closed the window and drove away. This time Alexander didn't follow. When I got home, my best friend Lucy texted me. "Oh my God, the person who delivered my food today was Alexander Fitzgerald. Isn't he the one who once bought you an entire Hermes wall display? Is he experiencing life or something?" I replied, "He went bankrupt, broke up with me last month, now he's delivering food to support his first love. What can I say? Such a devoted man." Lucy's father died early. Her mother is bedridden, she doesn't have much education, and makes a living making bubble tea. I've helped her quite a bit these past 2 years. After our conversation ended, I transferred her another 50,000 100,000 refufafidintev, but she transferred it back. "No need, Elena. I just found a sales job. I'll be making over 10,000 a month starting next month." I smiled and didn't insist. After all, from now on I have to support the little life in my belly too. After that, I didn't see Alexander again. With the money I'd saved over the past 2 years, I bought a large apartment in an upscale complex. I hired a professional financial advisor to manage the rest of the money. I usually lived quite privately and rarely ordered takeout. That day after my prenatal checkup, I walked out of the hospital. Unexpectedly I saw Jessica Moore, Alexander's first love, getting into the back seat of a Maybach. Out of curiosity for gossip, I followed her in my BMW the whole way. I watched as the car drove into a luxurious villa complex. What a surprise. Could Alexander be getting cheated on? Even more curious, I sat in my car waiting until evening when the Maybach finally left again. I continued following. This time the car stopped in the city center. Jessica got out and stood by the road to hail a taxi. I continued following. This time I followed her to an old, run-down apartment complex. Jessica got out, entered the building, and went upstairs. I was certain this was where Alexander and Jessica now lived. Compared to his previous luxurious villa, it was worlds apart. The surroundings reeked of the musty, fishy smell typical of old residential areas. I sighed softly. At 12:30 a.m., a small electric scooter stopped in front of the building. "Alexander." I leaned against my car and called out. He recognized me and approached in surprise. "How did you know I was here?" I didn't answer, just said cryptically, "You should normally treat Jessica better." But clearly he didn't understand. Holding up a plastic bag in his hand, I'm very good to Jessica. Every day when I deliver food. Whenever I find leftovers, I bring them back for her to eat. I glanced at the bag in his hand, a bowl of wontons that had turned into mush, then looked at him, unable to help showing an expression like I was looking at a lunatic. Forget I said anything. I laughed mockingly and drove away. I suspected that after Alexander became poor, he'd been possessed by someone else. It's best I keep my distance, to avoid my child being affected by his abnormality. But I didn't expect that even though I wasn't bothering them anymore, Jessica would come knocking on my door herself. She came to my door demanding I return the money. Alexander is living so miserably, while you're living so comfortably. She walked in without changing her shoes, sat straight on the sofa, looking around. Before he went bankrupt, he gave you 5 million, right? Do you know how much debt he has now? If you have any conscience, you should return the money. I didn't say much, immediately called Alexander. Opening line, Alexander, did you send Jessica to ask for my money back? There was hesitation on the other end. When he spoke, his voice was low. Jessica came to find you. I didn't know about this. Where are you now? I'll come right away to take her back. When Alexander arrived, he was still wearing his delivery uniform and even asked if he needed shoe covers. I said no need, just take her away quickly. But he said, you have a cleanliness obsession. I should still wear them. Seeing this, Jessica laughed coldly in anger. You don't need to come in, I'll go out myself. She grabbed her bag, and when passing him, complained resentfully, Alexander, when you're at home so tired you wear shoes on the bed, throwing socks everywhere. Have you ever thought about me the way you think about Elena? After saying that, she ran away choking back tears. I crossed my arms and leaned against the door, looking at Alexander. Our eyes meeting. After a long moment I helplessly advised, no matter what, you should pay more attention to hygiene. Alexander withdrew his gaze looking at the hallway. Turned to me with a complicated smile. But Elena, I've been really too tired lately, I don't have the energy to care about those details anymore. Hearing this, I sighed. I already said I'm afraid of being poor. Even someone like Alexander, who was once a noble and elegant diamond bachelor, after losing money, even his hygiene habits have deteriorated completely. But why do I feel Alexander's recent behavior is a bit strange? Maybe it's because I'm pregnant and overthinking. The next day, I transferred 200,000 yuan to Alexander's bank account. With a note there won't be a next time. Being soft-hearted comes at too high a price. If I pity others every time, who will pity a single mother like me? After the transfer, looking at the balance in my bank account, I finally felt at ease to take a nap. But after Alexander learned my home address, food deliveries I never ordered kept appearing at my door. Sometimes groceries from the supermarket, vegetables, fruits, meat, eggs, milk. Sometimes pastries and cakes. Sometimes bubble tea and coffee. Sometimes big meals, Japanese food, grilled fish, hot pot, barbecue of all kinds. Not expensive stuff, but all things I like to eat. If Alexander didn't text me each time saying he ordered it, I would have thought someone was trying to poison me. I knew he probably wanted to thank me for the 200,000 yuan, so I happily accepted each time. While eating, I often rubbed my belly talking to the baby. Baby, this is food Daddy sent. What, you think it's not good? Don't be like that. This is all Daddy can afford now, make do with it. Tomorrow Mommy will take you for Michelin. But when I actually sat in a Michelin restaurant enjoying the exquisite dishes prepared by the chef, my mind kept flashing to images of Alexander sitting across from me in a high-end suit, taking a ruby necklace from a velvet box like a treasure and giving it to me. When we first met, I knew Alexander had an unforgettable first love. His goddess Jessica, whom he'd secretly loved since college, but later he couldn't win her over, so he threw himself into his career and used a ruby necklace to win me over. I thought I was truly afraid of poverty to my bones. Coming from a remote mountain village that couldn't even be located on a map, I stepped into the big city and almost got sold into the service industry. During my job search, I kept failing, witnessing all the dark sides of humanity, meeting both good and bad people. So when Alexander opened the velvet box and said to me, Elena, stay with me, I agreed without hesitation, even though I saw Jessica's photo carefully preserved in his desk drawer for a long time. I didn't really lose much. Jessica and I don't have similar facial features, just similar styles. What did I lose? I didn't lose much. At least I still had money, handbags, countless beautiful clothes. A handsome, rich man like him being so generous to me, what more could I ask for? So when I found out Alexander's first love wanted to come back to him, I decisively took the 5 million and left. People can't be too greedy. I got things I never dared dream of in my first 24 years. As for so-called true love, I'll leave that for others. Sniffling, I stuffed expensive foie gras into my mouth, conveniently telling the chef preparing black truffles, "Don't stop." Just after eating, my phone rang. "Hello, your boyfriend." A young man named Alexander Fitzgerald was hit by a car while delivering food. "Please come to the hospital quickly." When I arrived, I saw Alexander lying on the hospital bed. Condition stable, still conscious. Seeing me, he relaxed his brow and smiled gently. "Elena, you came." I looked him up and down, only seeing bandages wrapped around his ankle, not even as wide as my palm. If I'd come any later, the wound would have healed on its own. Alexander scratched his head. "Sorry, Elena. I fainted at the time. The paramedics unlocked my phone with facial recognition and called you without permission." I crossed my arms. "Why didn't you call Jessica? She's your girlfriend now." I was so annoyed. I'd just eaten too much, then drove here like flying and had to climb stairs until I was exhausted. "I'm a pregnant woman." Alexander's smile faded, sadness appearing between his brows. He explained, "In my contacts your name is still Baby." Hearing this, I took a deep breath and said nothing more. When I grabbed my bag to leave, I ran into Jessica rushing over. Seeing me, she just laughed coldly, didn't say anything sarcastic, and even walked me to the hospital entrance. I opened the car door. She stood on the steps looking down and asking me, "Elena, let me ask you, Alexander can't perform in bed, right?" I stared wide-eyed, unconsciously touching my belly. Could it be that after Alexander became poor, not only did his hygiene habits decline, but his bedroom abilities also failed? Impossible. I couldn't help remembering his firm eight-pack abs and those defined muscles on his arms and chest. Especially when he appeared refined but was actually wild inside, seeming to have endless energy. I started to doubt, but put on a knowing expression. "So you finally understand me." "At most 3 minutes even with medication," I said warily. My tone as if I'd been through countless storms. Jessica looked at me, speechless. I took the opportunity to continue. "So I really don't understand what you like about him. Like him for being handsome. But being handsome is useless. Like him for his potential. But now he's so poor he can barely take care of himself." I patted her shoulder gently. "I can only say you came at the wrong time." "Shiff." Jessica's expression changed, half laughing as she brushed my hand away. "You really are vulgar." I pursed my lips. Looking at her expression for a moment, finally not knowing what else to say, turned and walked away, waving goodbye. "Noble lady. Good luck to you." I drove around for a bit then secretly came back. As it got dark, Jessica came out of the hospital, followed a small path and got into that Maybach again. This time I saw with my own eyes the Maybach drive into the villa complex from before. It didn't leave until late at night. Now I could confirm Alexander had a whole green island growing on his head. Driven by some emotion, I returned to the hospital once more and entered the room. This bastard was sleeping soundly. I put down my bag, sat by the bed and started feeling him up from top to bottom. After a while, I felt his body temperature clearly rising and a certain place was also very cooperatively saluting. I breathed a sigh of relief, but even more doubts arose in my heart. Just as I was about to pull my hand back and stand up, my wrist was suddenly grabbed by a strong force. A hoarse, low voice sounded in front of me. "Elena, look what you just did." I looked up, facing those deep eyes in the dim light. "You've provoked me like this and you think you can run." I froze in place, before I could say anything. Alexander pulled me hard into his arms. He held me tightly, using the only leg that could still move to turn and press me underneath. I panicked, quickly pushing him away with one hand while covering my belly and shouting, "Alexander, you pervert. You have no male integrity." I meant he had a girlfriend but was still doing these things with his ex. Who knew he'd prop himself up on the bed, lean down and laugh mockingly in amazement. "I have no integrity. There's no one in this world with more integrity than me." "Then why don't you move away?" I used my elbow to block his chest, taking a defensive stance. But he had no intention of backing away. Instead, he used loving eyes like looking at a puppy to look me up and down. Even worse, he reached out to stroke my face then down to my waist, pinching gently. I panicked, only hearing him frown and mutter, "You must be eating a lot of takeout lately. I think you've gotten fatter." I hugged my nearly 3-month pregnant belly guiltily, blinking, "I'm fat. I think you're just jealous that I'm living well." I looked at Alexander's clearly thinner face, his originally sharp features now even more defined. I gritted my teeth, pushed him away hard and sat up. "Fine, knowing you're okay, I'm relieved. I thought I'd broken you during our 2 years together." Alexander propped his hands behind him, sitting on the bed looking at me with gentle eyes. The light smile at the corner of his mouth gave me goosebumps. I was about to stand up and leave when he pressed close, hugging me tightly from behind. "You're not done yet." I protested, preparing to elbow him. I don't want to be caught in this situation. Alexander gently blocked me, deflecting my force, his arms tightening around my waist, chin resting on my shoulder. His low voice sounded, "Alana, how much money do you have left? How long can you live on it?" Hearing this, I laughed coldly. "Want to squeeze more money out of me? Alexander, you think 5 million is a lot?" I gritted my teeth. "You know it's not much." Alexander's voice was full of innocence. "That's why I'm asking how long you can last." I glared, deliberately saying, 2 months, damn it. After saying it, I wanted to cry. I have to use that money alone to raise a child well fed and well dressed until 18, plus buy a house, a car, invest in education. I can't let the child become useless like me. Moreover, I might lose another million being soft-hearted toward the baby's father. Then, Alexander squeezed my waist. "Before you run out of money, don't find someone else, okay?" His tone was both serious and pleading, making me freeze. "Are you crazy?" I couldn't help turning to glare at him. "That's overstepping." Alexander stroked my face, smiling bitterly. "Don't wrong yourself during this time. Eat what you want, buy what you want. Understand?" "Are you kidding? Am I the type to wrong myself?" Maybe because his expression looked really pitiful, I sighed, patting the back of his hand gently. "Just kidding. Don't worry, living luxuriously is my specialty." Hearing this, Alexander raised his thick eyebrows slightly, shaking his head with a smile. I immediately stood up, grabbed my bag and ran away. Alexander stayed in the hospital for half a month. I really didn't understand. His leg wound wasn't even as wide as a sanitary pad. Why did it seem like a broken bone that wouldn't heal? Yet my cheap self couldn't rest easy, secretly visiting him. Almost every time I saw Jessica in the room taking care of him, I leaned against the door frame, watching Jessica feed him spoonfuls of bone soup she'd made. Alexander ate a bite, then looked up at her grinning, holding her hand saying, "Jessica, I'm sorry for making you suffer with me. When I get back on my feet, I'll definitely repay you." From their conversation I learned that Jessica even asked her parents for money so they could get by. Jessica's family was ordinary. Both parents retired civil servants. Jessica sighed, holding his hand. "Don't say that, I'm not with you for money. The first love really is different." Thinking of this, I felt somewhat sympathetic about Jessica possibly cheating. Alexander now was a wreck, drowning in debt, dirt poor, making empty promises all day. No stamina in bed either. No wonder Jessica couldn't take it and had to find excitement elsewhere. I shook my head and left the hospital, deciding not to interfere anymore. Those two, one willing to hit, one willing to take it. Besides, now Alexander only had Jessica by his side. What if he found out about the green hat and couldn't handle the shock? After that, I continued peacefully nurturing my pregnancy. Lucy had been busy lately, just starting at a new company, often telling me about the difficult customers she met. Knowing I stayed home all day, she sometimes invited me out on weekends and advised me to socialize more. I licked my ice cream, looked up at the sky without saying anything. "Oh right, in a few days my company is holding a dealer conference with 5-star hotel luxury catering standards. We can bring family members. Want to come?" Lucy gently tempted me, also saying conference guests would receive big gift bags, maybe gold or high-end cosmetics inside. I finished the ice cream and nodded. Sure. What's life for if not finding some joy? I can't keep hiding at home, withering away. That day I dressed up specially, light makeup, wearing a black dress I hadn't worn in a long time. My belly wasn't showing yet. The flared dress hid it, no one could tell I was pregnant. In the hotel banquet hall, I was sitting at a round table dizzy from eating too much. Unexpectedly, Lucy's company boss, a handsome guy 1.5 meters tall in a neat suit, suddenly walked toward me. Seeing this, Lucy immediately stood up. "Hello, Director Wei." The man called Director Wei slowly sat in Lucy's seat, looked at me and said, "My name is Marcus Wei. I've been watching you for a while. I wonder if I have the honor of getting to know you." I unconsciously sucked in my stomach, hands still on my round, full belly. Marcus placed one hand lazily on the table, revealing a silver watch at his wrist, Vatron Constantin limited edition. I swallowed, looking at Lucy. She stood beside Marcus, after a moment of shock, kept winking at me encouragingly. I looked at Marcus with his handsome smiling face. "Yes, my name is Alina Harper. Nice to meet you." Marcus tapped the table gently with his slender fingers, a polite gentle smile. "Miss Harper, are you free this afternoon? I'm hosting a tea party at my private villa in the suburbs. If you're interested, I hope you'll do me the honor of attending." Seeing my hesitation, Marcus looked up at Lucy. "She's your friend, right? She can come too." Lucy immediately widened her eyes. "I can come too." As soon as she finished speaking, Marcus's assistant approached, carrying 2 bags which he gave to me and Lucy respectively. I opened mine. Inside was an exquisite gift box with a 100-gram gold bar and a complete La Mer cosmetics set. Just a small meeting gift. Marcus stood up, his voice warm. Miss Harper won't refuse, will you? How could I refuse? I immediately closed the box lid, picked it up and stood. Director Way is too kind. If there are more events like this in the future, please remember to invite me. Marcus's smile grew brighter. Lucy and I followed him out of the magnificent hotel lobby. Just as the Maybach glided up to the hotel square, someone suddenly approached. Wearing a food delivery uniform, helmet on, carrying a food delivery bag, looking like he was delivering to the hotel. Alana. Alexander called out to me, frowning. He walked up to me and Marcus, his sharp gaze sweeping over me. What's your relationship with him? Alexander was as tall as Marcus, quite handsome too, but in his uniform next to Marcus in his pristine high-end suit, his presence was clearly weaker. I coughed lightly, eyes evasive, about to say something when an arm wrapped around my waist, gently embracing me. It was Marcus. I stiffened, hearing him chuckle softly by my ear. Alexander, what's wrong? You know this girl. This time I was the surprised one. They knew each other too. Alexander said nothing, his clear eyes looking toward Marcus. In that strange atmosphere, some speculation combined with the recent strange events began sprouting in my mind. Then Alexander reached out and grabbed my wrist. Elena, don't go with him. What are you doing? I deliberately shook his hand off. You're bankrupt. Are you not going to let me latch onto another rich man? Perhaps not expecting me to be so blunt, Marcus beside me also froze. I took the opportunity to continue. You have time for this. Go back and care about your first love who's suffering with you. Hearing this, Alexander's dark eyes lifted slightly, something flickering in them. He frowned tightly, snorting coldly in annoyance. Fine, too lazy to care about you. With that, he walked around us, carrying his food bag into the hotel lobby. Only then did I turn to Marcus. Let's go, Mr. Way. Marcus smiled slightly, politely opening the car door for me. Before getting in, my eyes swept over the license plate. Indeed, this Maybach was the one that had driven Jessica to the villa. Lucy and I had a nervous but fun time at Marcus's private villa until evening. During that whole time, I didn't dare reveal anything unusual. But in the end, when Marcus arranged a car to take us down the mountain, something special happened. The Forestry Bureau has temporarily closed off the forest area. There's no other way. I'll have to trouble Miss Harper and your friend to stay at the villa for a few days. I nodded with feigned regret, trying to make him believe I believed that explanation. Sorry to trouble you. I'm used to living luxuriously, so please prepare the best room for me. The bed must be at least 3 meters wide, with silk bedding. Also, I can't eat simple food. 3 meals a day must be prepared by a chef certified by the World Chef Alliance. For ingredients, ordinary ones are fine as long as they're fresh imports daily. Whether main dishes, fruits or vegetables, entertainment is essential too. I like watching football, horse racing, swimming. I see you have a football field, racetrack, and pool here with enough staff. Organizing a performance for me daily shouldn't be a problem, right? Lucy stood behind me listening with her mouth hanging open. At this moment she truly believed I was completely immersed in a luxurious lifestyle. The more Marcus listened, the brighter his smile became. Of course. He nodded. I won't let Miss Harper suffer any grievances. After Marcus left, I immediately sent Alexander a message, then deleted it and turned off the screen. A few days later, my phone indeed went missing. When Marcus found out, he immediately had someone bring me a brand new iPhone 17. The following days, my life was peaceful and comfortable. Marcus didn't appear again. The entire mountain was strictly guarded by uniformed personnel and vehicles. I just relaxed, wandering around all day, eating and enjoying myself. In just half a month I gained 5 kilograms, but Lucy seemed unable to take it anymore. That evening, she took the initiative to find me. Elena, she sat beside me shyly, not daring to look at me directly. I want to confess something. Hearing this, I removed the gold face mask, sighed and said, go ahead. Lucy bit her lip. Actually, Director Way bribed me. That's why I brought you to the dealer conference, so he could trick you up the mountain. After hearing this, I narrowed my eyes. Lucy lowered her head even more. So do you know why he asked you to do this? I crossed my arms and leaned against the headboard asking her. I thought he wanted to keep you as a mistress. After saying this, she lowered her head again. I thought that Alexander went bankrupt, and was afraid you wouldn't live well, so I agreed to help. I was stunned. Look at that, what a kind best friend. I shook my head, my voice helpless. Now you realize his intentions aren't pure. Right. She scratched her head. He's kept you here so long but hasn't once entered your room. I felt something was off, so I came to tell you the truth. Maybe seeing my expression was deep and hard to read. She gathered courage to sit closer, asking curiously, Elena, did you already figure something out? I sighed deeply from my chest. I'm just guessing. Wait a few more days and we'll know if I'm right or wrong. Facts proved I guessed right. A week later, just after breakfast, I was about to climb onto the 3-meter bed for more sleep. From the pavilion outside the balcony, at the foot of the mountain, suddenly came quite loud noises. Not just voices but alarms were also faintly sounding. My heart jumped, the room door was suddenly kicked open hard. I panicked and ran to hide in the corner of the balcony. No one here. Director Wei said she's usually catching up on sleep at this time, definitely didn't go far. Search carefully. If we don't catch her and the Fitzgerald family makes a move, it won't be pretty. The Fitzgerald family. I didn't expect Alexander was self-made but still had a family backing him. So I'd become a hostage. But the day I had that speculation, Alexander understood the hint I gave in front of Marcus. He only showed slight concern for me then quickly left. This made Marcus let his guard down, keeping me on the mountain to probe further. This also gave Alexander time to secretly prepare. Though I still didn't know what he was preparing. The only thing I was certain of was that after proposing we break up, he and Jessica were in a testing phase with each other. From pretending to be stingy to pretending to be dirty, even pretending to be inadequate in bed. Yet Jessica still didn't leave, moreover she'd been in Marcus's Maybach multiple times. Perhaps Jessica was a spy Marcus planted beside Alexander wanting to get something from him. All the suspicious points now connected into a closed loop. I took a deep breath. Inside the room people were still ransacking everything to find me. I looked down. The balcony was about 1.5 floors from the ground, with fences and vegetation below. If I was nimble, crawling down along the low eaves, nothing should happen. I hugged my belly, starting to show, and made up my mind, only the strong deserve to be my child's mother. I stood up, just about to climb down when fierce fighting sounds came from inside the room. Right after, the balcony door was pulled open. My heart pounded like war drums. Not daring to look back, one foot already lifted, ready to step over the railing. A pair of strong hands hugged me tightly from behind, pulling me back from the railing, accompanied by an urgent call. Elena! I took a deep cold breath, feeling like I'd been pardoned, my eyes moist. Alexander turned me around, grabbed my shoulders, tensely examining me from head to toe. You've got some nerve, trying to jump. He'd finally stopped wearing the delivery uniform, replaced by a black shirt, hair neatly styled to one side, revealing his handsome face. At this moment, those eyes were looking at me intently with depth. Boo-hoo-hoo. I burst into tears, hugging his neck, burying my head in his chest. Alexander, I don't want to be caught by them again. My silly girl. He patted my head, smiling, his arms lifting me up then walking into the room. At the door, he suddenly lifted me higher. You greedy cat, what have you been eating lately to get heavier? I pouted in his arms, just simple food, not as good as what you had delivered to me. Alexander raised an eyebrow. Simple food? You almost ate them into bankruptcy. Knowing he was exaggerating, I didn't bother arguing. Snuggling into his neck, saying softly, Alexander, I'm pregnant. He stopped mid-step, stunned for several seconds, then looked at me with joy and surprise, voice full of excitement. Elena, when did you find out? My finger lightly traced circles on his collarbone. When I decisively left, it was because I needed your money to raise our child. I don't want them to be like me, pushed to society's margins. I want to raise them well, and that takes a lot of money. You won't blame me, right? I smiled with curved eyes. Alexander lowered his head to touch his forehead to mine, his voice becoming serious. Elena, do you know how dangerous that was? You should have told me sooner. How could I tell you? You forced me to leave. I glared at him then rested my head on his shoulder. Alexander tightened his embrace, took a deep breath and held me closer. Sorry Elena, there were reasons. I'll explain later. No need, I understand. Smart as I am, I'd naturally figured out the whole story. Alexander chuckled softly, carrying me downstairs while asking. Then tell me why I had to do this. I looked up at his sharp jaw. Marcus, is he your eternal business rival? Alexander raised an eyebrow, looking surprised and pleased. Not bad, continue. Your bankruptcy must be because he played dirty, unfair competition. I said, pushing his face away. Don't look at me with those admiring eyes. You have a hidden identity as the Fitzgerald family's young master. Marcus sent Jessica to approach you with his own agenda, right? Alexander's eyes crinkled with laughter, the corners of his mouth constantly turning up, looking at me full of appreciation. As expected of my Elena. I lifted my chin proudly. Following you for 2 years. I picked up some of your bearing and learned quite a bit. Alexander happily carried me out of the villa gates toward the fountain. A group of people in matching uniforms had formed a circle around the parked cars. Young master. A calm man stepped forward. Marcus has fled. Jessica has been detained by the police. Alexander nodded. Handle the rest with the police. I've given all the evidence to the lawyers. The bodyguard opened the car door. Alexander gently placed me in the seat, then got in himself. He leaned close, his arm embracing the back of my neck, forehead to forehead. Elena, you're not someone discarded by society. As he spoke, he took my hand. You're very smart, you just didn't have a foundation to rely on, so just to survive, you had to use all your strength. From now on, I won't let you suffer anymore. A kiss carrying warmth and moisture gently glided over each of my fingers. I'll be your solid support forever. Less than a month later, Marcus was formally arrested on charges of unfair competition and trade secret infringement. Jessica, as an accomplice under orders for actively cooperating with the investigation and providing evidence, received probation. After watching the news, I sat counting the days. That time I felt up Alexander in the hospital was really less than 2 months ago. Wife, you don't know how scared I was then. That evening, Alexander held me, his voice low and hoarse. I was really afraid that after 2 months, when you ran out of money, someone else would steal you away. I was drowsily sleepy and answered, I'm not that kind of person. He held me tighter, hot breath on my neck. Seeing you standing next to Marcus, my heart almost stopped. If you hadn't deliberately said harsh words to remind me, even if my identity was exposed on the spot, I would have taken you back no matter what. I burst out laughing. Suddenly wide awake. During the day, the capable, calm, noble heir of the Fitzgerald Corporation, at night he turned into a clingy person, sticking to me bit by bit. When my belly was 5 months along, Alexander and I held a grand wedding of the century. The moment he lifted my veil, he picked me up and placed a reverent kiss. Everyone says I must have saved the galaxy in my past life, but Alexander says he's the one who saved the galaxy. I think love isn't actually a luxury item. It's easier to get than money, but also more precious than money. What you're willing to give will definitely receive the most precious gift the universe can bestow.